all the
Live.
platforms. We always
Live
end up
on all
talking
the
over each
platforms.
other at the beginning.
I love it. Let's go. We're having some fun, right? We're
Okay.
having some fun. Okay, so do you want to invite me on your Instagram?
Yeah. Why not? I'll do that. Keep them company while I do this.
Yeah. How you doing there, Instagram? How you doing there, Facebook? How you doing on every platform there's on the planet? Because we're here to ignite the lives of everyone listening to this show and watching this show from wherever you are, whomever you are. We love you, regardless of race, color, sex, or creed. We are ready to serve. We're ready to give you the best of what we got with what we have, all of our intentionality, all of our intentionality, all of our gifts and our talents, our abilities. We're ready to do this.
Awesome. And this one's going to be a good one. I'm actually very excited for this episode.
No doubt.
Buckle up, man. It's going to be a ride.
Okay, good.
Cool. All right, I'm there. I like that. Do this, that. Hello, Instagram. Okay, so we're all ready to go. I'm going to press record on this episode in 3, 2, 1.
Leaders and healers, ladies and gentlemen, gamers and claimers from around the universe, from around the globe, from around the community. I'm your host, Anthony Cheam. Welcome to the Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast. Thank you for joining us today. We are live now in direct Burlington and Chatham coming together on this podcast. This is a podcast where we help you design your life. We'll help you claim your power, clarify your purpose, and cultivate your deepest, widest, and highest passions possible so you can ultimately show up as a better version of yourself, a better, more upgraded version of yourself. And then you can inspire others to be a greater, better, more loving version of themselves, ultimately making the universe a more loving, powerful, passionate, and purposeful life for everyone around, and making a difference while achieving, while gaining, while flourishing in abundance in every aspect of your life. Thank you again. And we are on life hack number 4. How you doing, Cam? What's going on? I introduced you this time, man. I didn't just go right into the podcast.
Yeah, we're awesome. Okay, thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm
Thank
doing
you for
really
joining
well.
us. Yeah, you got it.
Doing
Thanks,
very,
man.
very well. And I'm excited for life hack number 4, ask for help. This one, close to my heart, man, because it took me a while to finally talk about my issues to people. And I think one of the biggest things, if you're anything like me, anybody listening, I don't like talking about my problems because I feel like I'm going to bring people down.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. I just don't want to ruin someone else's good day while I'm having my bad day, right? So that it took me a long time to realize that the moment you open up, whether it's good or bad, people appreciate that. People like the connection. It doesn't hurt them. It doesn't bring them down. It's like they're honored to hear that you trust them with that information or whatever.
Yes.
So that's the one thing that I have. Anthony, take it away.
Okay, Cam, you make a tremendous point, my friend. The reality is that I'm in an industry where people depend on me for coaching, for wisdom, for training, for motivation, for positivity, for love, for answers. And people come to me for coaching, for training, for speaking, for my books, for podcasts, whatever it might be. And so they expect me to be in this high level of passion, purpose, and energy, which I am for the most part. But there is a time when I actually go down. And there are times, I've actually had people say to me, especially after my mother just passed away, have actually asked me, said, Anthony, who's your Anthony in your life? Who is your Jesus or Gandhi or Nelson Mandela in your life? Because the reality is we all need mentors. We all need people to help us pick us up. There are times even when I was struggling through my own darkest hours, through my own personal or professional areas of my life where I was struggling the most, where I needed to ask for help as Les Brown, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. And that's the whole idea is as the African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. For sure, going alone is great. But then if you want to go far, go together. And if you want to be fulfilled, go together. Mark Twain says happiness is only real when it's shared. But the reality is we're not going to be happy all the time. We're not going to feel great all the time. And sharing your challenges, your problems, some of your internal struggles, your addictions, which I've gone through, which we have all gone through, is one of the most liberating and freeing things there is to be on the planet, to feel on the planet, knowing that other people are struggling and suffering with us. That's what actually compassion really means, is to suffer with, to struggle with, and to know that, when we're struggling, when we're having a tough time, when we feel like that the world is coming down on us, we have our friends, our family, people that we trust, our mentors, coaches, whatever it might be, to help pick us up and to guide us through those darkest times. And asking for help is not a quality that's for the weak. It is actually a quality for the strong. In fact, I have to say to you, if you want to make a lot of money, if you want to be the fittest version of yourself, if you want a great relationship, one of the best ways to do it is to simply ask people who have lots of money or who are fit or healthy, who have a great, passionate relationship. Ask them. Take them out to dinner. I take them out to lunch and go, hey, I noticed that you have a lot of money. I noticed that you are fit. I noticed that you have a great relationship. I noticed that you're spiritually guided and it looks like you have everything figured out. What do you do on a daily basis? How do you see the world? How do you see money? How do you do it? And you just start picking their brains, and that will accelerate your growth 5, 10, 20 times. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Focus on, hey, listen, focus on people that used to be depressed or used to be alcoholics or used to have tough times or used to have trouble with money. Ask them what they did and how their strategies, and literally model it. And this is a very powerful strategy. I mean, if you pick up any self-help book that's out there, and it took a guy 20 years to write it, and it takes you 2-3 days to read it, man, you could accelerate your growth by 10 times. Just review what they learned, what they learned over the past 20 years, and then model it. And make it your own, but you can just model it. And so I'm constantly asking questions, both to myself, to my mentors, my coaches, to people that I respect. I'm reading articles, blogs. I'm reading books. I'm purchasing online programs in the self-help, spiritual world, business world, whatever it might be. And I'm constantly looking for the next nugget, the next seed of wisdom, the next, grain of knowledge that will bring me to the next level of Anthony, to help me be happier, more fulfilled, more passionate, but also give of the best version of myself so I can render a greater service. And I have to say, asking questions and asking for help is, as I said, let me repeat this, is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of rare strength to do that. Because if you think that you're alone, trust me, you're not. You are not alone at all. If you're depressed, if you're an alcoholic or addicted, or you're going through a tough time in your life, it doesn't matter. I don't care what challenge you're going through. There are people that can help you. There are people that are going through the same things that you've gone through, that have triumphed over it. Let them help you. And this is what the glorious thing. This goes back to what Cam said. The more people that are, the more you ask people about, helping you personally, saying, I'm struggling with this problem, whatever might that be, they are more than likely, 90% of the time, more than likely to sit down with you and help you. I haven't met a single person where they're like, oh God, I got to help you again. It's not like that. It's more like this deep connection into, hey, you're struggling. Let me help you. I'm your friend. I'm your mentor. I'm your coach. I'm your colleague, whatever it is. Let's get through this together. In fact, I'd say about 22 years ago, when I first started dating my wife, my then girlfriend, she noticed within a few years of my relationship that I was around January, February, I would get down. I would get physically, mentally, emotionally foggy and down, didn't have the energy that I do have normally. And I didn't even notice it. But my wife, my girlfriend at the time, now she's my wife, would take notice of that. And every year she would notice, like around February, you would get down. And I thought, wow, did something happen? And I kind of re-examined everything, but nothing actually happened in my life for me to feel that way. And I started studying it more and more and more. And every year it actually started to get progressively worse and worse, to the point I was like severely depressed. I was severely emotionally distraught and drained, and physically, like to the point where I was physically sick. I couldn't get out of bed, all these things. And finally I did some research. I asked some friends, some medical doctors, some psychologists, other life coaches, friends, family, and I started asking people about their opinion. And a nutritionist, holistic nutritionist, people that around me that I respected, that could probably give me some insight as to what I was going through. And it basically came up that this, the winter blues, but specifically called SADS, seasonal affective disorder. And I started looking at all the symptoms of seasonal affective disorder, and I literally had all of them. Like, it wasn't even just generally speaking. It was like, if you experience this, like carbohydrate, like you have this craving for carbohydrates, you've got this craving for sugars, you feel foggy, your lower limbs are sore in the morning. That was a sign. Like I had, my calves were sore, my quads were sore for no reason. I didn't any workouts. I would gain weight and lose weight. It was just crazy. I felt tired, even if having a 6, 7, 8 hour sleep at night and good sleep. I just couldn't. I had foggy thinking, all these things, and started studying it. And I started implementing some of the strategies that some of my friends and coworkers and colleagues, did. They actually, a lot of them experienced the same things, but I had a friend of mine who experienced it to the point where they were suicidal, like to the point where they were ready to pack it in. And they disclosed that with me, and they told me about their experience, and they said, "Hey, Anthony, I know exactly what you're going through." And then they went on an antidepressant and all these things, and it helped them. And I was going to go on an antidepressant, but I wanted to search out like some natural remedies. And things like this light here that I shine on I can show you guys if you guys can see that. This light here it's called a Verilux light, which basically mimics the sun. And I do that in the wintertime. I take extra vitamin D. I take magnesium. I do aromatherapy. I do all these things, these modalities to help me counteract the symptoms of SADS. And guess what? My SAD symptoms aren't gone fully, but they usually happen around January, February, March, sometimes to the end of April. But these things, these modalities that I use, these strategies to kind of counteract the negative effects of SADS, I started implementing, and then as a combined thing, man, you wouldn't believe, I would say I'm back up to 90% during the wintertime. I didn't have the negative symptoms as bad as they were in previous years. How did I do it? I simply researched and I asked for help from friends, doctors, nutritionists, coaches, psychologists, therapists, whatever, spiritual people, spiritual directors. I mean, I was asking to everybody around me, and guess what? I got answers. And by searching for answers and asking for help, man, let me tell you something. It was one of the greatest things I could have done. And people were so respectful of me. And I had to swallow my pride because I thought everyone thinks I'm this positive guy, which I am. But then I felt like, wow, I'm going to be ashamed for admitting this. And they had more respect for me for admitting that than if I was just kind of pushing it under the carpet or whatever, right? So I was deeply truthful and honest. The truth shall set you free, and the truth did set me free, and it allowed me to find the right pathway, the right solution to my problems. And guess what? I'm a better human for it, and I can certainly help people and develop that sort of empathy and the compassion for people that struggle with mental illness or SADS or addiction, stuff like that. So I know deeply and profoundly that that experience is actually elevating me. It's making me better. It's making me more, and my ability to serve people, it has been magnetized and amplified as a result. So ask for help. What are your thoughts, sir Cam?
I couldn't agree more. And I think I've fallen for this a lot, where you learn something, it's working out, especially with meditation. It was the worst with meditation. You learn that meditation is good, cool. You start getting benefits from it because you do it every day. And then because you're fine, you just stop. And then you just think, oh yeah, everything's fine. I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to learn anymore. When people graduate high school or college, like, I don't know any adult, honestly, I don't know many adults besides you and maybe a couple others who are still actively out there learning, So
yes, of course.
And I think also, like you said, you got to swallow your pride and accept the fact that you are ignorant in a lot of areas. And a lot of times when people have mental illness, their perspective is very zoned in on one thing. So you do know better, but when you're in that place, it's you can't see, and you literally need to ask someone for help or
of course. You let me tell you something. When I was feeling so crappy in the worst times in the wintertime with SAD symptoms, the last thing I wanted to do was burden someone. That was my perception. I'm like, no one wants to feel like what I feel like right now. Why would I want to put that onto somebody else? But nothing's further from the truth. People that care about me want me to actually reach out to them. And in fact, many of the people, I'd say 90% of the people I reached out to were like, wow, Anthony, you're reaching out for help. Like I'm more than happy because you're the one helping everyone, man. You're the one that's going out and serving them. And now, wow, I'd be more, what do you need? And they would sit down with me, so caring and compassionate to my challenges, my personal challenges. And let me tell you something. I have to admit, there was a guy that I was coaching recently who I hadn't seen for a couple months. And part of the reason why he stopped working with me is because he didn't feel like he was making the progress he wanted to make, and he was letting me down. And then he said he had this thing to say about me. He said, I'm such in a bad place that I don't think I could benefit from the coaching. Nothing could be further from the truth. That's when you need your coach or your best friend to pick you up. That's when you need it the most. And I mean, here's a great way to look at it. When is the best time to invest in the stock market? When it's low. Right? When's the best time to invest in your friends? When they're low, and vice versa, right? There's a great metaphor to look at. So the best time to invest in yourself is when you're low. The best time to invest in other people when they're low. And the best time to allow other people to invest in you is when you're low. So ask for help. And here's the great thing about it. If you're a person that's a giver, because I'm my archetype, my Enneagram type, I'm a giver. I'm a helper, like I'm a rescuer, right? And I have a tough time asking for help. But one thing that I learned from a contribution perspective is this. When you ask for help, you give the other person you're asking help to the ability and the experience of serving you, which gives them the joy of contribution. So when you don't ask for help, you rob them of the ability to feel that which you feel in contributing to other people. That's very powerful. So allow other people to feel the reward, the joy, the emanation of serving you, because they get joy from that too. That's one of the highest spiritual principles there are. Not just to give, but to be open to receiving the gifts from your friends, your family, and the universe abroad. It's very, very powerful, very, very important. It's a lesson that I'm still learning, that I'm still opening up to. And let's face it, the circle of abundance is not just about giving. It's about giving, then receiving, giving, then receiving. When you take a breath out, when you exhale, you're giving your breath back to the universe, but it doesn't stop there. You can't go and hold your breath. You'll die, right? You got to breathe out and breathe in. Breathe out. And why? Here's the great thing. Why don't we think about breathing a lot? Because there's an abundance of it, right? So what if we started thinking about giving, but also allowing the universe to give to us and receiving that breath back from us? Because as we give, so shall we receive. And as we receive, we're going to have more to give. So be open to that. Ask for help. So 3 things I would ask my audience here that are watching. Ask for help. First, determine a challenge that you're going through. Any challenge, personal challenge, health challenge, relationship challenge, spiritual challenge, even on this podcast. Ask me any question you want. You could have a problem, and I'll be more than happy to answer it for our next podcast. That's the first step. Determine a challenge that you're going through. We're all going through challenges, all problems, and then find someone that's gone through what you're going through. Take them out and ask them questions, call them, whatever it is, send them a message. And number 3, follow through with whatever strategies that you get. Again, determine whatever challenge you're going through. Number 2, ask for help from someone that's an expert in that area who has gone through it personally. And number 3, follow through with the strategies, 1, 2, maybe 3 max strategies that they give to you. Take notes. Take ample notes, and I promise your acceleration, your growth will be that much easier. It would be less arduous trying to figure out the answers. The answers are there. We're in a time where you can get answers on Google. If you put on a search engine on Google and you ask the question, how do I get fit? How many search engines will come up? Billions. So there's ways to do it. There are strategies to do it. And one of the ways to do it, just go ask for help. Find it, figure out what it is, and go find it. Any final thoughts there, Cam?
That was amazing. I couldn't agree more. I think I'll end it with something you said, actually, that blew my mind 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
so
awesome.
It was a while ago. You said, who would make it out of the forest? A man or a woman running through the forest with a map, not knowing what's happening, or a person running through the forest without a map, but they have a walkie-talkie and they're talking to someone who is flying in a helicopter above them. So you get that outside perspective that you don't have. And like I said earlier, when you're in the depths of your own mind and it's very dark, you can't see. And so that perspective is really, really important. And I wrote down the 3rd step there was following through on whatever strategies that the person gives to you. Sometimes they won't give you anything but a perspective, but that might be all you need.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Tremendous,
that's all I
tremendous point. No, tremendous point there, Cam. You make some great points, and it's right. You can't see the picture when you're in the picture frame. You can't smell your own bad breath until someone points it out to you, right? It's true, right? It's true. Yeah. So you got to see from the outside, get an outside objective perspective, just to look into your problems, and together you guys can win. And as the saying goes, team, the TEAM. The acronym for it is together, everyone achieves more. So let's achieve more. Let's live more. Let's love more together as a team. Team, Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast. So to your continued upgrade and evolution, live it up with power, purpose, and passion, and subscribe, share, comment, like, whatever it is. We want to help you. We want to serve the people you love. We want to serve you deeply, and we care for you deeply. So God bless. Have an amazing Monday. We will see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our next show. Thank you so much for joining us.